Jokic is probably statistically, when it comes to overall game, the worst MVP winner. He's the worst MVP winner in the last 40 years.
This man said that Jokic is the worst MVP in 40 years. Yo, what it is, what it ain't, YouTube. This your boy MJ Talented coming at you with another banger reaction video, man. I've been hearing a lot about these comments that Gilbert Arenas made on Nightcap with Shannon Sharp. This man straight said that Nikola Jokic is the worst MVP in the last 40 years. Everybody knows that Gilbert Arenas is known for saying some outlandish things on social media and whatnot. So we're gonna see what he's talking about in this one. Let's get into it.
ESPN Tim McMahon reported that one NBA executive believes that Jokic winning his third MVP in 4 years is not going to age well. I had somebody from another team who was saying you can't, in a historical context, you cannot give this guy 3 MVPs in 4 seasons. Basically, his take was like, that's not going to age well. But Jokic's been dominant. Gil, 26.5 points, 12.3 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 steal, 1.3 steals in 73 games. He's shooting 58% from the floor, 34% from deep. If he brings home his third MVP, he brings home his third MVP just because you guys effed it up and wouldn't give it to guys that Jordan probably should have 7 or 8. LeBron should probably have 6 or 7. Other guys, that ain't they fuck.
Before we get to the rest of the video, let's check out his stats for this season, if I might add. For the season, Nikola Jokic is averaging 26.5 points per game, 12.4 rebounds, and 9 assists. So almost a triple-double. Shooting 58% from the field. Shooting 34.2% from the 3. That's average. 82% from the free throw line. And effective shooting percentage is 60.7%. And per is 31.0%. That man is having an MVP season. Now, if you want to say that Luka is averaging 33.8 points per game, 9.2 rebounds, 9.8 assists. Here's another triple-double magnet. Shooting 48.6% from the field, 38.2% from three-point line, 78% from 3, 57.1 effective field goal percentage, and 28.1 per. Now, he does, to me, have better stats than Jokic, but he just started winning games this late into the season, which is really important to the MVP race right now because it was basically Shea and Jokic the whole season. Now, they pretty much got Luka Doncic at number 2. Some people might have him at number 1. He got the better stats, I ain't gonna lie, but his team is still fit. If they get to 4th, then maybe you would have a conversation about who really is the MVP, basically. So, but I still have Jokic as my MVP, by the way. So.
Oh, but here's the problem that you had, Gil. Until 1981, players voted for the MVP. Let's just think it for a second. People at home. 1 year, Wilt Chamberlain averaged 44 points and 27 rebounds. And he finished 8th in the MVP voting. I want you to hear me again. He averaged 44 and 27. Finished 8th in the MVP voting. The year that he averaged 50 and 25, he did not win the MVP. So you have players like, if I don't like you, I ain't voting for you. So you see what happened prior to the 80s? Players voted for the MVPs. So now you got the writers, and so maybe Wilt should have. The man had 500. What do you have? I think he had 551 consecutive double-doubles. Yeah. We're applauding Sabonis for having 54. The man went down there 5-6 years and had double-doubles. Yep. He never finished the season with less than 18 rebounds in a season.
That's crazy.
He averaged 23 rebounds for a season for a career. So he probably should have more.
But he was the biggest, most athletic player in the NBA back then. So
has the potential to win
it is what it is.
If they had done it right. So you wouldn't be mad because Jordan would have 7, and you say, well, damn, he get 3. He only 2 behind Jordan, and he's 28. That means he's only 1 behind LeBron. He's only 28. He's only this, and he got. That's not his fault. That's not his fault that y'all messed it up.
I got to use your language, that 1964 language. Those mofo jive turkeys, like you're right. They screwed it up, and you can't rewind it back. Like, I understand both sides. One side, the fact that they're having the discussion that they can't give it to them, that is disturbing, which means you've been doing this the whole time.
Thank you. Thank you.
You've been penalizing people the whole time to protect who?
Historical.
And what? Right? Who have you been protecting and what have
That's
you been
what it sounds like. I ain't gonna lie.
You've been doing it. We know Jordan should have 7. So he should have 3 in a row. Were you protecting Bird's 3 in a row by not giving to Michael Jordan? Right?
Or LeBron
should have had some. Shaquille should have had some.
Yes.
Kobe has 1. Now I do understand when they say this about Jokic. Jokic is probably statistically, when it comes to overall game, the worst MVP winner. He is the worst MVP winner in the last 40 years.
And there it is.
You're talking about MVP.
This man said that Jokic is the worst MVP in 40 years. This man pretty much is averaging a triple-double as a big man. He's probably the best big man passer of all time. The man has won a championship. He's won 2 MVPs so far with Finals MVP. And his team is consistently, for the past 2 years, been number 1 or number 2 in the league for his record-wise. His team is a little different this year, but they still winning. So it's like, how can he really be the worst MVP of all time? That is a silly, dumb take. Like, come on, man.
MVP. The guys outside of first and second place, their teams was first and second place. The people who won the MVP, their teams was first and second. When Jordan won it, his team record, they were 7th in the NBA. That year, he averaged 35, 6, 5, 3 steals. All-Star MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, scoring title, steals leader. That was the MVP. Historic year. Makes sense, right? That makes sense. When Westbrook won it, his team had the 10th best record. Triple-double, right? He did something amazing. His team was 10th, but he did something that wasn't done since Oscar Robertson. When Jokic, in 2021, Jokic's team was 5th. He averaged 26, 8, and 10. What was the historic part of that? There was no historian. Oh, the big man almost had a triple-double. Let's give it to him. That's what the narrative was. A big man almost, not did, almost won the triple-double, and they gave it to him when his team record was like that. His second MVP, his team was tied in 10th place. 10th best record in the NBA, 27, 8, and 13. What was historic about it? The 2 people before him had an amazing season. When you're talking about historic, Magic, teams first place, second place, first place. Jordan 7, second, 1-1. Bird 1-1. His team was first place every time he won it. LeBron first, 4th, first. Jokic 5th and 10th. That is. But they did that.
Yes.
They did that, and
yes.
it ain't his fault.
He didn't vote for himself.
Right.
You did it. So either you're gonna correct it or keep fucking it up.
Yeah. When Jokic said, Jokic probably said, don't
And when you
correct
think
it on
about
my
it,
part.
when you think about it, he pretty much have the exact same stats as all them years that he's won MVP. But you have Luka, who's averaging 34 points per game, 9-9. And his team is fifth. So technically what he's saying is somewhat kind of true. It's like Luka's fifth seed. So why don't you give it to Luka? Because I think Luka he ruffled a lot of feathers when it comes to people voting him for the MVP. Every year, since his second year in the league, everybody been saying that, oh, I got Luka winning the MVP this year. Every year since then. And he's finally coming to fruition. He having a healthy season. And his team is winning games now since the All-Star break. I think they got the best record since the All-Star break, or a certain period after the All-Star break got the best record. Yeah. Same. I don't know.
Because
So with them type of criteria, you might as well give it to Luka this year. But to me, I feel like
he probably shouldn't have had those.
To me, I feel like Joker is the sole offense of that team. No disrespect to Jamal Murray. He is, and he should have been an all-star at some point in his career. And he balls every year in the playoffs. But when Jokic is out the game, that is a play-in to not making the playoffs team. But when he's in the game, they number one in the league. So, but yeah, man, I can see both sides, but I feel like he's not the worst MVP in 40 years. I'm sorry.
If you go by history, last year, that should have been his, shouldn't have been Embiid's. Jason Tatum team has been one. He's been the best player. He's averaged 30. He's had the number with the rest of history. That was his MVP. Now, Jokic is sitting in first with great stats, right?
And you go win it.
Now, you know what I mean? Now you're sitting there like, well, shit. I mean, you know, we done cheated for him the last couple years, so we got to give it to him this year. So when you look at the history of this game, right? How Jokic won his MVP has never been. It's like we're dumbing down.
Right.
We're dumbing down the game for a narrative.
Right.
If you want Euros to look like they're playing well, then just let them play well. When Giannis was winning. He was dominating everything. His team was one. He dominated from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. Both years he won.
Right.
You don't need to handicap greatness.
Right.
You need to handicap greatness.
Kareem probably should have won it every year in the 70s.
Yeah.
Kareem probably should have won it every year in the 70s.
Like
people don't realize how good Kareem was because he was mercurial. He didn't do a whole lot of talking to the media, kind of surly. I think it hurt him a lot. His behavior when he played hurt him and after, because that's why he didn't get a coaching job. But you go back and look at Kareem's stats in the 70s when he was with Milwaukee. When he's averaging 35, he's averaging 35 and 15 and 33 and 16 with 3 blocks and all that. You're like, hold on, who won it? I think Moses Malone was the last one to win the MVP with a losing record. I think in the late 70s. People don't realize Moses Malone got 3 MVPs.
Yeah, Moses. I got Moses here. I mean, in the 80s, his team was first and second. They had his first, second best record. This must be the 70s.
Because he won it his only year in Philly, the year they won the championship in '83. You look at his numbers, he should have won it. And
his team was first. His team was first too in '83.
7. What do you want?
He camera froze for a minute.
He might have won it in '81. Who won it in 81?
He won it in '82 and '83. And his team was second in '82, and his team was first, had the first best record in.
Did he win it in 78? Was it 78, 77?
Listen, I ain't even go down to the 70s. That was with the last 40 years, look.
Right.
But it's like when you're looking at it, it's like when you look back in history and say, all right, he has the 5th best record, average 20, like
if you take it's the assist that we want to glorify that kind of puts his stat in another category. But
it's a narrative thing. It's a narrative based thing.
He did what Westbrook did. Oh, he averaged a triple-double. We used a big that can pass the ball. That's not how you do. You can't do that. And the fact that you did it for that, now his team is in first. It's like, well, you
got to give it to him.
You got to give it to him now. Like it's him, or you give Jason Tatum the MVP he deserves.
I don't think Jason Tatum is going to finish top 3. I think the top 3 will be Jokic. I think it's going to be Luka, Shai Gilgeous. It's going to be one of those, and then Giannis is going to probably be there somehow. Now that's going to be your all NBA team: Jokic, Giannis, JT, Shai, and Luka. That's going to be your all NBA team, your first team. But I don't think
even with Luka. It's not a real triple-double. We already seen it before. Like when James Harden had his in 2018, his team was first.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, that's why I said, like, what is the criteria? Because you're giving mixed signals. No one, like, I know Jason Tatum's over there like, what do I need to do? My team's in first place. Every year, we've dominated every year. I'm the best player, and I'm playing very well. How am I not an MVP? In 2022, team was first. He averaged 27, 8, and 4, and went against 27, 8, and 13. But his team was 10th. Like, how do you justify it? That's what I'm saying. Like, they need to sit back and see how are you justifying when you've never done this before?
Right. Well, it's hard to correct a wrong when the wrong has already been committed.
Yep.
So the guy's like, hold on, wait a minute. So you talk about historical purposes, because prior to Bird winning 3 in a row, I think the person that won 3 in a row was it Wilt or Russell? I think it might have been Wilt. Might have been Wilt that won 3. Because if you go back and look at that season, if you look at the season, I think Russell won it that year. I think he averaged like 15 points and 23 rebounds. Mm-hmm. Wilt was 50-25. Elgin Baylor was like 38-19. Walt Bellamy was like 36-17. Jerry West was like 36-5. Bob Pettit was 35. That was statistically, they say that was the greatest NBA season ever. And if you go back, fans, if you get an opportunity, go back and look at the numbers in that season, and I think you'll see what they're talking about. But really, if you really thought about it, if you look at it, Wilt should have brought, like, I understand that his team, Russell dominated, but you look at Wilt's numbers, they're like crazy. Like, how?
But that's what I'm saying. You got guys who didn't win, who wasn't there, and they had crazy numbers. And what is crazy about 2016? Like when Kobe, like now, as a Laker fan and a Kobe fan, it is upsetting now when Kobe had that historic year individually behind MJ, right?
Yeah, that 35, was it 2000? 2005, 2006?
Yeah, it was 2005.
In the 6th.
So no,
because that was the year he averaged, he had 81. He had that 50, he had like 3 straight games of 50.
So his team had the 10th best record, just like Jokic. And I don't even know if Kobe finished second.
Right. They were, back then, the voters were still out on Kobe because what transpired was probably still fresh.
That hasn't. What the hell does that have to do with the game itself?
But I'm just telling you how they think.
I know that. You know what? Listen, AI taking over everything. AI kicking writers out. Kick some of these writers out.
Right.
Report AI this and see who it votes for.
I used to vote. I used to be a voter for the All-Pro team, MVP. Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, things of that nature. And I watched all the games. I watched the players. I'm not just your name don't do it for me. And just because you got a big name and you don't win the 3 All-Pro teams back to back, no. I'm watching your play, and it's going to determine whether I believe you're defensive player of the year or your OPY or your MVP. And so I took it serious. And that stuff off the field, they got no. I'm voting for a football player. Yep. What he did on the field, what he did off the field, hey, that ain't got nothing to do. It is clearly it didn't stop him from being great on the field. So that's how I voted, and I voted for a decade. I picked every MVP correctly. I picked every defensive player of the year basically correctly.
So I'm gonna stop it here. So yeah, man. He's somewhat right because Kobe did that year in 05, averaging 35 points a game. He deserved to win the MVP. But they gave it to Steve Nash, I believe. The year before that, Steve Nash won it again, and Shaq should have won MVP. So, like I said, I don't know what's the criteria of picking the MVP, man, but it is narrative based. And now they just saying that he's the most impactful player in the league right now, and they're currently number one. So, I guess you got to give it to him. But I kind of agree somewhat. Like you shortchanged LeBron MVP. He should have at least 5 or 6 MVPs. George to have 7. So it's like, it is what it is, man. Hey, they pick who they like, or as a person and a player. They don't just pick what they see on the court. So it is what it is, man. But I'm gonna stop it right here, man. This is the end of the video, man. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below what you think about what Gilbert Arenas said about Jokic being the worst MVP in 40 years. And yeah, man, that's a crazy statement, but it is what it is, man. It's Gilbert Arenas. I'm gonna see y'all next time. Let's get it.